terrified to share this list because you guys are either going to love this video or think I'm totally savage. I'm going to tell you various things in this video related to gifts, some things that I trust my husband with, even though they're usually mom things, and just a lot of things that we don't do that I think a lot of us American moms just do without even questioning it and realizing that we actually have a choice to not do that. So let's get to the list. If you're a Christian woman who's listening to this and you want to make the most of your time in your life, you are my people. So hit subscribe, check out the links below for free resources and info and coaching. Okay, number one, we do not use or maintain battery-operated toys or books. That is for the sake of my sanity, for the sake of the peace in our home, and so I don't have to keep up with all the batteries, and because I want my kids to play with toys that are a little more boring and open-ended and stimulate their creativity. Now, this list I'm about to share, most of these are not hard and fast legalistic rules that I follow 100% of the time. So there are rare exceptions to some of these things, like my friend Woody, who definitely makes noise. But generally speaking, these are very true and realistic. Okay, number two. Plan activities at home to entertain my kids, like crafts, scavenger hunts, science experiments. I wanted to be that mom. I mean, it's still not too late, but my mom was and is that kind of mom and grandma, and I was a super crafty kid, so I loved when she would plan things, and I have tried to do these things with Harry, and I usually end up stressed out, and Harry, my 4-year-old, never cares as much as I think he will. He is a very free spirit and honestly just roams around the house all day when he's not at school, playing with Legos by himself for a while in his room, then he wanders in and out of the door to outside, doing random things outside, playing with his brother, torturing his brother, you know. And I've found that I just need to take his lead and that the planned activities were more about me thinking that that's what's fun or that's what good moms do than about what Harry truly values and cluing in on what he really needs. Number three, bathe them daily. We do not bathe our kids daily. We have a 4-year-old and 1-year-old. Good for you if you do that. There will probably be a ton of things on this list that I don't do that you do. We can't have a parenting video without a poop joke, right? And that is totally okay. And like you can glorify God in all the things that I don't do. So I'm not saying that, these are just ideas for you. And hopefully this gives you some permission. Number four, save most mementos. I will link to my video about memory boxes below, but basically I save almost nothing in terms of birthday cards, certificates, unless it is really, really special. I think if you save too much, it just dilutes all the other things. The special things get diluted by the less special things. So I will also link to my video about decluttering sentimental items, which talks about that, like that philosophy on saving the very, very, very best, as well as my realization that we are just not the kind of people who enjoy looking through memories. So I am choosing not to hang on to every birthday card because the chance of my children, my boys in particular, both boys, caring about having all their old art or birthday cards someday is slim to none. Now, I know on the surface level, it could potentially seem selfish or lazy when you hear some of these things that I don't do for my kids. Anyone who knows you would tell you that I care deeply about raising my kids well. And some of the things that I care very, very most about are their faith and their character and their health, because of my health history, and the environment and mood of our home. And those things require a lot of time and margin. And the environment of our home, more than anything else, I believe requires a mom who is peaceful and joyful. So am I willing to make trade-offs sometimes to keep our life simple so that my kids may not have all the other things that other kids have, but I did the best that I reasonably could to instill in them faith and character and be a mom who is not so stressed trying to make their life amazing that she was a grumpy, exhausted, you know what, in the process. Yes, I am. And I will make that choice over and over. Okay, oh, and I wanted to show you, this is what we use for memory boxes, and so I will link to my video more about how we save mementos and all that stuff below, like I said. Okay, number five. Wash their clothes after each use. If their clothes aren't visibly dirty, I will generally throw them back in the drawer. And this is true for my own clothes too. This is one of the things on my personal list of things that I don't do, which I will link to below. Number six, fold their clothes. I just toss their clothes into the drawers based on the type of clothing. The jammy drawer, the tops drawer, the bottoms drawer. I was very skeptical of this when I heard Dawn, the minimal mom, talk about this, but I love it. Now for me, like, I want my drawers KonMari, nicely organized, but these are little boys. They mess up their nicely folded clothes all the time anyway. And truly, when you put their clothes on them, the wrinkles come out almost completely. You don't even notice them. Number 7, I do not always write thank you notes on their behalf. If I thank someone in person for a gift they gave my kid, I usually don't write a thank you note. Once my kids are older, this will help them build character, but for now, it's just one more thing for mom to add to her large to-do list. It keeps me from things that matter more to me. So I do sometimes do a little video thank you on my phone and text it to someone instead of a note. It's simpler, and then the gift giver can actually see Harry with a gift, and Harry can actually say thank you himself instead of me doing it. So I hope this list so far is giving you lots of permission of things that you do not have to do, friends. And if there are things on this list that you love to do, obviously keep doing them and glorify God in that. But if not, I give you permission to test out not doing them and see what happens. Number 8, make different food for my kids than for me. Our kids eat the same food we do. Period. And knock on wood on my IKEA standing desk, we have not had any picky eater issues yet, although I know that's partially just luck, so thank you, Jesus. Number 9, dress them in matching outfits. I've done this a couple times kind of accidentally. It's cute, and my sister did buy them matching PJs, which I love, but I generally do not make an effort to do this. Number 10, play kid music. Kind of like how kids are capable of eating food other than hot dogs and chicken nuggets. They are also capable of listening to music that is not just for kids, as long as it's appropriate, of course. So Harry does have a Jesus CD, we call it, of kids music that he listens to sometimes in the car. Sometimes I'll play him Donut Man on Spotify, which is Christian kids music. But my go-to genre for me is worship music, which is obviously kid appropriate, and Harry loves it. So that's what we mostly play. We also like classic music like Bing Crosby or different kinds of instrumental music. And all of that music sets a tone in our home and in the car and puts all of us in a more peaceful state. I think kid music has a tendency to make a lot of us parents a little bit batty. Number 11, sell or buy in moms groups on Facebook. I have done this a couple times lately, contrary to my better judgment, and was swiftly reminded what a headache it is and how, to me, it just does not feel worth my time for me personally. Not to mention, I do not enjoy it at all, and I feel like I'm glued to my phone, which spells complete disaster because my kids very much appreciate and deserve my attention. Number 12, save artwork. Like I said, my kids are 4 and 1. At this point, neither of them have really made anything that precious. If Harry makes something cool, we enjoy the process of giving it to someone like a neighbor, a grandparent, and then rather than hang on to it, I take a photo of him holding it, which is so precious because then I can see the art and see his little face, at the age that he made that. And then I will say I temporarily will stash his artwork for a time out of sight, just in case he asks about it. And he always forgets about it, and then I can just dispose of it later on. So that's what works for us for now. Number 13 is do scheduled activities like gymnastics or music classes or soccer. We do need to get Harry in swimming. I wish we had done that sooner. My husband was really trying to teach him how to swim out at my parents' house, who live nearby, on a lake, and it just has not really been working. So we are getting him in swimming soon. But other than that, he has never done any scheduled activities so far. And by the way, one book that has really influenced our decisions about things like toys, activities, technology use, etc., is the book Simplicity Parenting. So good. Another that greatly influenced my desire to raise my children in faith and character and in a peaceful, intentional home environment is Sally Clarkson's book, The Life-Giving Home. Simplicity Parenting is not a Christian book explicitly. Sally Clarkson's is both excellent. So our kids will definitely do activities as they get older, but we'll probably be those weirdos who don't have our kids in as much as most people do. And I am growing more and more comfortable with being a weirdo every single day. I hope you are too. I remember reading a couple years ago the book The Gospel Comes with a House Key, and the author says that her kids are in no extracurriculars because they are wildly focused on ministering to their neighbors, literally daily. And so her kids are just playing with neighbor kids and they're hosting neighbors all the time. And so they don't do activities. And I was like, not that, like I said, not that I necessarily want to go to that extreme, but I was like, wow, that is weird. That is so bold. It's not normal. And I'm not saying that that choice is right for everyone or that you can't glorify God by having your kids in lots of activities, because you can. But I thought that was really brave and beautiful. So let's be weirdos together, guys, okay? Number 14 is I don't play with them for long periods of time, especially with things I find boring. Just being honest. So every day, Harry and I have special time where we set a timer for about 15 minutes and he gets my full attention. No little brother around. We do whatever he wants. He gets to pick, which is usually playing Legos. And this is something that I learned from the Positive Parenting Solutions course. They recommended this, doing this every day and really going all in and just enjoying your kid and having that one-on-one time. And that course is like, oh my gosh, life-changing. I will link to it below. But other than that, I don't spend tons of time playing with my kids just out of guilt. I play with them if I want to, or if I notice that they need a little extra boost of mama love and attention. And I'm okay with Harry understanding that mom needs to do household jobs like laundry, and my job is not primarily to entertain him all day. I did just buy this Lego set with my own money the other day, like my personal allowance money that I can use on like clothes and stuff. Just bought this the other day at Target because I know I will enjoy playing Legos with him a lot more if we have something like a little bit more girly to do. And I've never like actually put a Lego kit together before. So I thought this would be fun. We've been working on it and he loves it and thinks it's so cool. It's like a little organic cafe. So, and Harry gets a lot of my love and attention throughout the day as well. I don't have my phone out much around him. We do quite a bit of reading. We do dance parties. We chat on our walk home from preschool. We go on daily walks in the afternoon and I don't take my phone. So I don't feel a huge need to actually play with him for long periods of time. And I would encourage you to let go of that guilt too. It's probably not really doing anyone any good. All right, number 15 is buy them stuff that they want at the store. If Harry sees something that he wants at the store, which is all the time, I just say, oh, maybe you could ask for that for your birthday. Or, you know, if you really want that, yeah, you can use your money to buy that. And he's usually over it and on to the next thing almost instantly. And if he throws a tantrum in the store, which I don't know if he ever has thrown like a bad one, but honestly, I don't care. The kids throwing tantrums in stores are not necessarily the naughty ones. Let's be honest. Sometimes they're probably the kids whose parents just have the best boundaries and aren't willing to bribe them for good behavior. Number 16 is throw dedicated birthday parties for each birthday. For Harry's first birthday, we did a lovely intimate dinner party with just his 4 grandparents. His second birthday was a combined party with his cousin. For George's first and Harry's 4th, we combined them and we also piggybacked them off of my parents' annual 4th of July party and just told family like, come a little early. We did cake, ice cream, presents. That was it. And I guess that was 4 months after Harry's actual 4th birthday. So on his actual birthday, we did have his 3 cousins come over for like a couple hours and they just played and we had some cake. So number 17 is I try not to do things that they can developmentally do themselves. I'm not perfect at this, but I really try to empower Harry and even 15-month-old George to do things themselves so that they can feel independent and so that they don't have to rely on me. And famous psychologist Alfred Adler, whose principles influence a lot of the content, a lot of parenting methods today in general, but including that of the Positive Parenting Solutions course that I mentioned, he says something like, never do for a child what she can do for herself. And I wouldn't say never, maybe that's a little too strong, but in general, I think that's a good idea. Number 18 is make Harry's bed daily. I care very much if my bed is made daily. I do not care as much about Harry's, nor does he. Number 19 is dress my kids in overly cute clothes on a regular basis. I aim for about B+ cuteness in clothing, and that feels good enough for me. I probably care more than some moms do and less than other moms do. And it doesn't really matter how my approach compares to yours or someone else's, but more so what seems right to us. Also, it probably goes without saying, as a minimalist, they have pretty limited wardrobes. We keep it pretty simple. I'll link to my video below about the 4-step system that I use to go through their clothes for each season, as the season changes or as they're growing into a new size, and fill my gaps and everything. That's actually my most watched video at this point, probably because that can be kind of overwhelming. All right, number 20, this one may sound very mean. I know I'm not the only one. Along the lines of clothes, we don't buy a lot of character stuff for our kids. Thankfully, Harry is not super obsessed with any particular show or movie anyway. I mean, he will be, but it's like fleeting and he moves on to the next thing very quickly. I feel like the characters are interchanged so quickly. And if there were character shirts and shoes and backpacks and bedding and dishes all over my house, no. I know a lot of you have all that and you honestly don't mind, and I think that's great. I am just very sensitive to visual clutter, and I would not be as peaceful of a mama with all those cartoon images stabbing me in the eyeballs everywhere I look. And some of you are thinking I'm being really dramatic right now, and I also know some of you totally get me. So it's not that we don't allow character things at all, but try to do them in ways that are a little bit less obnoxious or more consumable things, like coloring books, stickers, etc. Number 21 is plan and schedule and research everything myself related to my kids. Why does this default to moms, even when the mom works? And dads are fully capable of doing this too. Now, to be honest, I do way more of it than Kyle does, partially because I care more. But he did all of Harry's school registration, he's researching the swimming lessons to get him signed up for, stuff like that. Number 22 is take my kids to every doctor's appointment myself. This is another thing that, especially if both parents work, dads are totally capable of doing this. And you guys, this is good for dads, and it's good for our kids to do these things with dad sometimes. Especially I have sons, I want them to see dads can do most of the same things that moms can. They are capable of those things. They can be involved. So Kyle took George to a couple of his newborn appointments. He just took him to his 15-month well visit. He took Harry to his consult for his surgery last year. He comforted him through an MRI, lots of other things. And I'm very sensitive to the fact that sometimes there is no replacement for mom, but it is totally okay for Kyle to do maybe 10 or 15% of these appointments when his work schedule allows. Number 23 is make my own baby food. We feed our kids mostly organic and very clean because of my health history. But we keep it ultra simple and we stick to food that is already pretty much baby friendly. So I wouldn't say we're 100% baby-led weaning people. I've never read the book, but we are also not 100% puree people. We kind of just take a lazy but healthy approach to kids' food and give them things they can eat without me having to puree it. Number 24 is heat my kids' food and bottles. Our kids they've never had issues drinking cold bottles or eating cold food. So as gross as that seems to me, if my baby will happily chow down on cold roasted broccoli that I just took out of the fridge, I'm not gonna bother heating it for him if he's fine. And we don't even own a microwave for health reasons, so heating a food definitely takes a little bit of work. Number 25 is take monthly baby photos. You know what I'm talking about, those cute photos people do with the letterboard signs or the cute props. I take plenty of pictures of my kids, but that just felt like one more thing for me to add to my to-do list. And for me, the hassle outweighed the benefit. Number 26 is pay for professional photos super regularly. So I do very much value professional photos. I have learned that the hassle and the expense is so worth it to me. We just did a mini session recently, but that was the first time George has had professional photos in over a year. So I do love professional photos, but I don't put undue pressure on myself that I have to have professional photos of my kids multiple times a year or even necessarily every year. I want to capture them at every stage, and obviously I do with my phone, but I don't feel the need to do professional photos more than every 12 to 18 months or so. Honestly, I probably wouldn't even do them that often, except I usually get updated business photos about that often. So then I always just combine family photos in with that. Number 27 is cloth diaper. Now, in a lot of ways, I am the kind of person who would cloth diaper, but in other ways, I'm not. And we just never got into it. I didn't really know people in real life who did it successfully, so we are wrapping toxins on my baby's bum and destroying the environment, and I'm not thrilled about that, but I'm just being totally honest in this video about what we do and don't do. Number 28 is worry about developmental milestones too much. Our pediatrician is wonderful And she's really good about checking in on those things. And I am very regular with her doctor appointments. So I don't really keep track of things like how many teeth should he have by now, or how many letters do most kids know at this point? A lot of those things, even if I had the knowledge that my kid was developmentally behind, there's not much I could do about it anyway. And they're usually going to catch up in their own timing, in God's timing. So I rely on my doctor to help with those things, and also just follow my mom intuition. And if I notice something that maybe my kid is lagging in, I can always add it to my list to ask the pediatrician, or I'll ask my mom, or do a quick Google search. But generally, I try not to worry about or track that stuff too much. Number 29 is track my kid's height. My father-in-law made this beautiful height ruler thing, this wooden thing, which I actually gave him the idea for the design when he started making these for like his kids and nieces and nephews and stuff. And I feel bad, but I realized I just don't really care what height my kid was at a certain age. So we still have that board, but Kyle, my husband, knows that is his domain. He can track their height if it's important to him. There are just only so many details my brain can handle. Number 30 is let my kids sleep in bed with me. Now, hear me out on this. Georgie is a champ of a sleeper. He's got his little lammy lovey in his crib, which stays in his crib. And once we do just a couple of his little rituals and then lay him in his crib and put his lammy in his hands, he instantly goes into self-soothe mode, puts his thumb in his mouth, and is so peaceful, going to sleep, soothing himself back to sleep at night. We've got that down. He's awesome in his crib. And honestly, Harry has just never asked to sleep in our bed or our room. And when he does occasionally have a bad dream, we're always very loving and attentive, but we really try to empower our kids to take care of their own sleep needs to whatever extent is developmentally appropriate. So Harry is so good in those situations, and he'll tell me like, Mommy, last night I was a little scared of the storm, but then I remembered that Jesus is always with me, and I snuggled with my lammy, and I prayed and I sang, and then I didn't feel scared anymore. So I know a lot of parents love co-sleeping with their toddlers and preschoolers, and if that's working for you, I 1000% support you. But it's not something we've had to do, and honestly, I'm okay with snuggling with my kids during the daytime hours when I am well rested thanks to a quality night of sleep the night before. Number 31 is do complicated baby books. I received a very lovely but very thorough baby book as a gift when I was pregnant with my first. I tried to do it and I realized this is just too much. I just don't really care about capturing who the big celebrities were or what the cost of bread was at this point when my baby was born. So, and I feel like if I am going to make the effort to keep memories, I want it to be for the purpose of remembering my very favorite moments and favorite rituals that I would forget otherwise. And I really want it to be a testament of faith to my kids and how we raise them. So that led me to these promptly journals, which I love, which have guided prompts to fill out as well as blank lines for each month of the first year of life and then for each year until 18. So this actually takes you like all the way through 18. So it's got, like I said, like prompts that you can fill in and blank space, and then for each month a spot for one picture, and for each year then a spot for like one picture and one piece of artwork. Number 32 is travel with my kids unless it's a really good reason. Like my friend Jackie says, a vacation with kids is not a vacation, it's a trip. Or as one of my clients, Kathy, said, I remember her saying something like, going on vacation with small kids is just doing all the parenting you normally do at home, but with way less resources and space and gadgets than you have when you're at home. So it's just harder, which is so true. And I will have plenty of time to travel with my kids when they're older and actually know what's going on. For now, my kids have just as much fun at the local beach as they do on some grand vacation. And I, as their mom, am much happier and more chill. So that feels like a win for us for right now. Number 33 is visit Santa or the Easter Bunny. We have actually never done the Easter Bunny so far, which I just realized. It's never even really been a conscious choice. I don't think Harry even knows about him. We did do Santa for the first time last year, as in Harry got a few small presents from Santa in his stocking. That's what my husband did as a kid, so we just thought we'll go with that. But I don't make a huge deal of Santa. I don't think any of us in our family really care enough to stand in line at the mall for an hour just to get a photo with Santa, so we just skip that. 34, we don't do trick-or-treating at this point. Trust me, no judgment. Kyle and I both grew up in trick-or-treating families. Every Christian I know does trick-or-treat, which is totally fine with me. I just feel a little iffy about its origins and like how dark it is. The world just, I know it's like fun, but it just feels so like dark and gross, and the world is already so dark. Harry gets really spooked by people's decorations. Not to mention, we eat really healthy because of my autoimmune disease, and I want to try to not pass that on to my kids. So it keeps our life simpler and keeps us healthier to not do the whole costume and candy thing, and that might change at some point, but for now I feel good about that. Number 35 is give them gifts from us, their parents, for every Christmas and birthday. My kids are young. They don't even realize who their gifts are coming from, and they are so blessed with so many gifts from others. I don't feel the need to get them big gifts or even get them gifts at all for every single Christmas or birthday. Now that Harry's 4, he gets like a little something from us, like something we probably would have bought him anyway, but George hasn't gotten any gifts from us so far, and I don't think Harry did till he was at least 2. Number 36 is send birthday treats or Valentine's, things like that, to daycare. Thankfully, most of the other families don't do this at daycare either, so I don't worry about it, and I'll enjoy those things when the kids are in school and they actually want to do it and participate versus me just doing it myself. Number 37 is do flashcards, worksheets, anything overly schooly or educational. I try to just observe what my kids are interested in and let them take the lead with their learning and take advantage of lots of organic opportunities to learn in everyday life. 38 is put apps for Harry on my phone or tablet, or let him use my phone. He doesn't have his own tablet either. No judgment if you feel the need to use those things. We just have a no phone policy for now, so it's not even an option for him to nag us about it in the car or at a restaurant. I totally do let him watch TV though, so it's not like I'm some saintly no screen mom. I wish I could manage that, but you have to know your limits and the capacity of your patience and sanity and your kids. Number 39 is style Harry's hair. I always thought I would be the boy mom who styled my boy's hair because it's so quick and easy. It looks so cute, but Harry never wants to get his hair done, so it rarely happens. That's shifting a little bit now. He did just start school a few weeks ago, so I was like, Kyle, this is a perfect time to make this routine. Like while he's brushing his teeth for school, you do his hair. So we told him like, that's a new rule, that's a new routine. Like you gotta do your hair for school. So now he's like, I gotta do my hair handsome for school. Number 40 is give our kids juice or milk. Once our kids are old enough to not need milk, we just do water. Kids get calcium through vegetables and lots of other things, and we just don't buy juice. They get the nutrients they need from food, and it keeps things simpler and less messy. Number 41 is make Harry finish all of his food in order to get up from the table. It's seeming to appear that Harry may be a rather strong-willed child. Where did he get that from? So we pick our battles, and in our house, that is not a battle that I fight. So if he doesn't want to finish his food, that is totally fine with me. And he is welcome to put it in the fridge because he will be eating that at his next meal or the next time he says he's hungry. Number 42 is make Harry pick up his room daily. This used to be part of our bedtime routine. It was just another one of those things to tackle in an already challenging situation of getting a feisty, tired kid ready for bed. So all of his toys are in his room, but he doesn't have tons of toys because we're minimalist. So it gets definitely very messy for sure, but it really can only get so bad, and I don't really care. It's all contained. There are always Legos on the floor. So yes, like George can basically never play in his own room because they share a room and he can't play with Legos yet. But anyway, I'm fine with the Lego mess. If that toy mess was in common spaces that we spend a lot of time on, it would make me feel uneasy. But I don't mind that one messy space that Harry can just like be himself and, Number 43 is we don't allow toys to live outside of his room. Like I said, all his toys are in his bedroom, which is on the first floor, right down the hallway from the rest of our house. Our house is a 1,700 square foot ranch. So it's not like it's way upstairs or it's some long hallway or separate wing of the house to get his toys out. He can go back in his room and play, or he's welcome to bring toys into the kitchen or living room if he wants to, like one basket at a time. We lately have kept one cute basket of Duplos or toys in the kitchen, and that's working well, but that's it. Number 44 is do photo albums. Again, I will link to my video about the system that I do use related to photos and memories, but to summarize, I do not create photo albums. I do cull the photos that I take on my phone and our DSLR, and I save them by month in Google Drive. And Kyle does this with his phone photos too, sometimes with a bit of reminders or encouragement. But it's so fun for me that the photos are always available on my phone for Harry to look at. It's really easy to find photos from particular events because they're all organized. And it's just not important to me to have printed albums. I think they're nice, but to me, the time cost, the financial cost, the space they take up, even for something as simple as chapbooks, outweighs the benefits. What is important to me is to have photos though, and to keep those photos organized and to have them pared down so we can actually look through them and enjoy them. In other words, I don't want to have 1,000 photos from each month and 90% of them are duplicates or junk. And someday when our TV craps out and we get a smart TV, I may have the photos loop on our TV or something, which I think will be fun. But till then, we just look at them on our phones or on our tablet. Number 45 is purchase school photos. I honestly don't even know what I would do with them. Like, we give grandparents copies of the nice professional family photos that we get. Our kids are going to get a yearbook with their photo in it. I'm fine with that. That's enough for me. Number 46 is buy sports team apparel for the boys, like Packers jerseys. We definitely care about Wisconsin sports to an extent. We get together with people for Packers games. We go to Brewers baseball games. Like, we live right down the street from the stadium. But I don't feel the need for my kids to have Brewers or Packers or Badgers apparel, especially because they just outgrow it so quickly. It just doesn't really matter to me if they're wearing normal clothes or team apparel. And that's one of those things that when Harry was young, I realized, even though most people I know do this, which is fine, this is actually optional. How freeing. Number 47 is keep gifts out of guilt. We are so blessed with so many people who love us and gift things to our children. Family, friends, neighbors, and more. If I kept everything, my kids' room would literally be overflowing with clothes and toys, and our basement would have bins and bins and bins and bins of additional items. It would be so stressful for all of us. So I am so grateful for everything people give us. I never tell people that they're not allowed to give my kids toys or they're not allowed to give them gifts. I just graciously accept what they want to give us. If they want gift ideas, I'm happy to give them, of course. And if my kid doesn't really like it or need it, or they play with it once, then I notice they never play with it again, I can sign it or donate it, or if it's still unopened, I'll return it. And I do keep a whole bin in the basement of things that I don't think Harry cares about anymore, but just to see if he brings it up. And then after several months, if he hasn't mentioned it, I'm like, okay, it's safe to get rid of this. So that's the list, you guys. I just want to say, guys, our kids are going to be fine. I struggle with this fine line as a privileged, blessed American parent raising privileged American children, where obviously I want them to have a lovely childhood. They are so blessed to not have a clue what it's like to be hungry or in need. And I am not putting all my energy into simply keeping them alive. So I do have some capacity, and I want them to have sweet childhood experiences, like birthday parties and little family trips and a home they love. But that said, I actually don't want to give them everything I could possibly give them. And not only do I think they will be okay, I think they will be better off. And if me trying to give them every quintessential thing that we feel is necessary for American children, which who's making the rules here anyway? There are very few rules, and most are totally made up and totally breakable. If that comes at the expense of our family's margin to instill faith and character in them, and it comes at the expense of my ability to be physically and emotionally healthy for my kids, then to me, that's too far. And only you know what your capacity and your values are, friends. So I encourage you to be brave and bold and fight for what matters. It's simple, but it's not easy. And you're going to feel like a straight up weirdo sometimes, but it's okay. And that's why I'm here for you. So again, check out those resources below. And of course, I am dying to hear in the comments, what are some of the things that you have joyfully chosen not to do as a mom? Maybe you can even give me some ideas. And I love you so much. I will talk to you soon.